Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. Happy Friday. Today we're just going to be continuing on with the resurrection stuff. It's going to be mostly visuals oriented today. I think that's basically all that I have to do is just the visuals for it and the sound effects, but of course I do the sound effects off stream. I also finished the skeleton character, so the character that we were working on yesterday. I finished him up. I'll show you what he looks like. Yeah, what else? Yeah, I'll show you what he looks like, and then we'll get into working on the resurrection stuff. We'll see how that goes, and that's probably going to take the whole stream today, so probably don't have time for anything else after that, but we will see. Before I get into all of that, I want to remind everyone that Alchemortis is available for wishlisting. There's also a playtest available for Patreon members, so if you subscribe over on Patreon, you will get instant access to the playtest. A Steam key will be sent to your inbox. However, on Monday, which is just in a couple days here, the playtest is going to be available for everyone. So you don't have to subscribe to Patreon at all to try the playtest. The playtest will be live for everyone on Monday. So yeah, but this is available if you want to support me. I very much appreciate it. And you do get a couple of nice perks. For example, for subscribing at the top tier, if you do subscribe at the top tier for at least 1 month, I'm going to send you an Alchemortis Steam key when the game launches, and your name will be listed in the in-game Alchemortis credits. So if that sounds good to you, definitely consider that. You can also purchase my Udemy courses. These teach you how to build complete games in the Godot engine from yours truly, your favorite niche e-celeb. So if you want to learn how to build Godot games, this is a great way to do it, and it's a great way to support me as well. Okay. That's it for the ads. Hello, everybody. Welcome, Clickertail. Good morning. RN Genesis, good morning to you. Malicious Rabbit, good morning. Emerson, welcome, welcome. Good to see you again. Good morning, Ninja Link. Thank you for the wall of text feedback in the Discord. It's always appreciated. Always appreciated. And I think generally speaking, the game is getting there. The game is getting there. The kinds of problems that exist with the game are the kinds of problems now that are like just a matter of tweaking a bunch of things. So yeah, I hope we're very close to the point where the game is in a good state. It feels good. Everything makes sense together, and then can just march ahead with content. Don't give up, skeleton. Yeah. Good morning, Stray Pointer. Welcome. Hello, Sean O. Welcome, welcome. Good guy, no one. Welcome. Good to see you. All right, who wants to see the character? The character skeleton. So this is the skeleton character. I think, was I doing the animations on stream yesterday? I don't think so, but let's just do this. So he's got animations. Excuse me. So I've got to run an idle animation with a blend space 1D for that. Unfortunately, the shadow moves with him, which is not great, but that's all right. I can fix that later. It's not really noticeable. I just wanted to create some separation between him and the ground, basically. So that's that character, and he starts with those helmet and gorget or gorget or whatever the frink it's called. So if I run the game, we can go in as the skeleton here. And he also has this little sidekick here. So I don't know how well you can see that on the stream, but he's got a little pet moth who just like flies around him constantly. So that was just my, every character in the game kind of has like their unique identifying thing. Like the Necromancer has the lantern, the Priestess has the orb thing, and so this skeleton guy, he's got a little moth flying around him. I did end up calling him Brittle Bones instead of Brittle Skeleton. So his name is just Brittle Bones, which I think is cool. And also I gave a name to these artifacts here. So this is the Helm of Geoffrey the Great, and this is the Gorget or Gorget. I gotta figure out how to actually pronounce that, of Geoffrey the Great as well. So yeah, that's that. His name is Brittle Bones. He has a really goofy run animation. He's got a little pet moth. What more can you want, Thumbs up for the running animation. Thank you. Hello, Chris. Good morning. The need a crap run, yeah. Oh, that's funny. So he's stinky. I don't know about that. I don't think skeletons really smell like anything. But yeah, that's the new character. And of course, like we said yesterday, the gimmick of this character is that he's got one starting health. So if I just go ahead and take damage here. Oh, I didn't take damage. Right. Oh, I need to replace that too. Shoot. I need to finish this. I don't want to do that right now, though, because we have other stuff to do. We have other stuff to do. All right, so let's focus on the resurrection stuff now. So it'll actually be good to play as this character because then I can actually test the resurrection flow. But so this resurrection, so the altar has been added to the map. This resurrection stone, maybe I should call it like a resurrection altar or something. But if I sacrifice a couple of cards, it says the sacrifice is not great enough, add more items. So I add more items and I do this. That gives me a resurrection stone and I'm done with that. So that's the way that you acquire the resurrection stones. We do probably want to rename that. Let's see. Event configuration. Oops, resurrection stone, resurrection altar. Okay, so that'll work. I guess, I don't know. Let's just get rid of this. Okay. How does the moth animation work? Could we get a peek? Yeah, sure. So the moth animation, so it's basically just this thing here. So there's this, I called it a sidekick. So we've got the sidekick root. The wings are separate pieces here. And so there is just a constantly looping animation that just plays the wings there. So that's just constantly looping. There's nothing special going on there. Just applying a rotation to the wings. But inside of the skeleton script, there's the process method, which is calling update sidekick. And this is basically just steering behaviors. So it has a position around which it orbits. It has various offsets and radiuses. So for example, arrival radius determines how close it needs to be to like the target point. So the target point is determined by taking this orbit position here and then offsetting it by some amount. And then if the sidekick is within 4 pixels of that target point, then we generate a new target point for it. The tether radius is basically how far away it can be from that point. And then we have the speed controlled for the moth and all this stuff. So yeah, so basically just a bunch of random target points are being assigned, or one random target point at a time is being assigned within like a 16 pixel radius of that point, and then the moth will just kind of like steer toward that. But the one interesting thing is that there's this sidekick extreme threshold here, which will basically flip this show behind parent flag if it's within 70% of the max radius on either the left or the right side. So what that does is that gives the illusion that the moth is kind of changing its position in the 3D space, right? So if I go here, so if the moth goes over to the extreme right or the extreme left end of the radius that it can be in, it has its show behind parent flag changed, and it looks like it's passing through, or sorry, it looks like it's passing behind and passing in front of the skeleton. So that just adds a little bit of extra depth to that in a very easy way. But yeah, it's very simple. There's nothing special going on here. Should the character appear somewhere on the battle screen? That's a good point. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of screen real estate on this screen, so it might be a little bit hard. Unless we just put the character here or something. You know what I mean? That might work. But then it might look asymmetrical if there's no enemy character over here. So, yeah, I don't know about that. It'd be cool if Obsidian kept a log of tickets moved around over time. Could maybe feed it to an LLM and ask it for insights about your workflow. Well, if you want to keep a log of tickets moved around over time, I mean, that's just you managing your own history, right? Thanks, RN Genesis. Because what I do for, like, for example, for the patch notes for Alchemortis is I will just take all of the text that's in this column, or in the done column. I just moved it over, but I'll take all the text that's in the done column and I will feed that into Claude or something, and I'll say, hey, here's everything that I did that I want to cover in the patch notes. Can you, like, organize it and write it, you know, bullet point it out and everything for me? So it converts this long list of things into, like, coherent patch notes. It does get a lot of things wrong, though, so that I have to read through the patch notes and move things around and, like, rewrite things because it misunderstands some of the meanings of some things. But, yeah, it's very nice for generating patch notes. But that only works because I'm keeping it very organized. Like, I know that all of these cards, when they were in the done column, that those were things that I needed to capture in the patch notes since the previous patch notes. So as long as I stay consistent with my own maintenance of the history, it works well. Anyway, I've got some debugger errors. Oops, Resurrection Stone was not present in the dictionary. Oh, I didn't change this back. Interesting. Why did this switch back? Resurrection Altar. I must have pressed Control Z a couple times. Okay. Hello, Junie. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. The characters look so cool. Maybe they could just stand on top of the board just spitballing. Guess that it takes in a sort of Final Fantasy direction. Maybe not what you were going for. Yeah, I'm worried a little bit about the asymmetry of having, like, the player character on the screen, but not, like, an enemy character on the screen. Skelly is looking good. Love the moth friend. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it was just, you know, I thought it'd be funny. I mean, you should read his... I could read you guys the flavor text for him if you want. Let's see. So the flavor text was with this guy, the skeleton. After his master's slaying at the hands of the Inquisition, he wandered until he found an underground coterie of alchemists. Here he remains, steadfast and silent, with naught but the company of his pet moth. I think it's kind of cute. It's like almost like a fairy tale. It's almost like a children's story. Oh, this little skeleton lost his master and now he's wandering around with his pet moth. Graveyard Keeper is free for now. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I played that right when it came out, I think. I remember it being decently fun, if not grindy. In-depth breakdown of a fly node would be very fun. Peak lore, yeah. Anyway, I think he's cute. I like him. I think he's a good addition to the game. I was kind of trying to think of, like, ways to hint, because, like, the artifacts that he has now are like the Helm of Geoffrey the Great and the Gorget of Geoffrey the Great. So I was kind of, like, trying to hint, like, maybe this skeleton is actually Geoffrey the Great, you know? Like, why does he have this guy's armor on him? Anyway, I wonder if I should hint at that somewhere else as well. But anyway, let's go into the resurrection container here. So this is the thing that we need to add visual effects for. I think I can just run this scene by itself. So it will come in like this. I resurrect. That heartstone goes in. We need to do like a beam and some particles. So the beam, what do we want to do for the beam here? So we've got the animation player. So I'm thinking obviously like using like a line 2D or something with a texture on it. Fly node greater than alchemy system. Oh goodness. What have I done? I guess I should just make cute games from now on. Just make little cute characters and no gameplay and just sell that. That'd be nice. Little ghost sprites. Yeah, I was thinking about little, so little souls or ghosts or something coming up from here. Maybe circling around it. The beam is the one that I'm kind of interested in. I'm gonna move these things around a little bit. So it's not the case, like these Node 2Ds don't actually need to be children of these clickable controls. So these clickable controls, they don't actually need to be like, yeah, they don't need to be parents or ancestors of these things. So I guess in a lot of cases, it's just easier to do this. So now I have all of my sprites here. So we've got the receptacle canvas group. We've got the resurrection stone. Okay, so I'm gonna probably want maybe a line 2D. I'm gonna try to do this. I'm gonna try to do this. So what I want to do is I want to do a line 2D coming from the back of the what you call it? Coming from the back of the heart. Oops. 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 Okay. I guess I'd be better off just doing this myself. And then this can just be negative, 400 or whatever. So this is going to go up into the sky. For the width, we could probably turn that down to 8 or something. This actually needs to go up here. All right, so for the texture, I'm gonna do, let's do texture mode tile, texture. We're gonna do a new noise texture 2D. We can do a width of 8. Let's do a noise, fast noise, light. Oops, maybe height is what I want. Okay, anyway, so we got a fast noise light here. What I like to do for my noise here is I actually like to turn off the fractal and use Perlin. And then I can just do something like that. Okay, so let's add a shader to this now. Also, I probably want to set this to... Actually, do I need to set it to... Yeah, I probably need to set it to seamless here. So we'll see how this goes, but let's just do beam, and then we're going to do a new... We may break out Claude here. Claude is very good at shaders, but I'm going to try to do it myself to start. New shader. Shader, resurrection beam. Create that. Resurrection beam. Okay, we don't need the vertex. Fragment. Okay, so let's just do something very basic to start. We're gonna do... Let's do vec4 sample is equal to texture... No. Yeah, texture UV. Okay. And then we're gonna do color is equal to... I think I want to use step. I always forget what step does, actually. GD shading language. I always forget where to find this documentation. Shading reference, built-in functions, step. If B is less than A, 0 or 1. Const float noise cutoff is equal to 0.3. Let's do a uniform float beam color hint, or no, source color. Uniform, not float. What am I doing? Vec4. Okay. So this color is going to equal beam color times step sample dot R. It's if B is less than A. Sample dot R. Okay. Okay, so that seems to work. So you can see that we've kind of got a beam that's like broken up in accordance with that noise pattern. So what I should be able to do now is I should be able to take this beam color and set that to white. And there we go. So now the thing that we need to do is we need to animate this. So const float, let's just do like noise speed or something. Do 5.0. Okay, vec2 sample offset is equal to vec2. We're going to do uv.x, and then we're going to do uv.y plus time times noise speed. And then this is going to be the sample. Well, let's just call this sample UV, I guess, actually. Why is it not working? Am I doing something very dumb right here? Oh, do I need to... Hold on a second. Do I need to turn on repeat enable on here? Repeat enabled. There we go. That's what I was missing. Okay, this actually needs to be uv.x. Minus time times noise speed. Okay. Hello, Yito. Welcome back. Good to see you. It's time for resurrection once again. It is. It is time for resurrection once again. So I almost need like a secondary noise pattern, I think. I might need a secondary noise pattern. Sample UV 2 is equal to vec2 uv.x plus time noise speed. And then we're going to do uv dot negative uv dot y. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so we'll do sample vec4 sample 2 is equal to texture sample uv2. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we will merge those. So let's do vec4, let's do float average is equal to sample.r plus sample2.r divided by 2.0. Then we'll put the average in here. Okay. Let's do uv.y minus time times noise speed. All right, we're going to need to change some things here, I think. It's kind of annoying. Let's just put some hard-coded numbers in here. These editor windows are too big. But anyway. Turn the noise cutoff down a little bit. Or up a little bit. Actually, I can turn it up. We could change the noise pattern in here. Problem is this is only 8 pixels tall, so it's going to be repeating a lot. What happens if I do 512? Eesh. Yikes. Uh-oh, something's wrong. There we go. Well... Actually, this uv.x, we'll turn this one down. Okay, uv.y, time times 0.2, 0.1. Anyway, this is just kind of nonsense, but let's see what it looks like at least. Oh. All of my animations broke. The pillar has a transform of 0, 0. I guess my receptacle no longer has a transform of 0, 0. So let's just do this. Let's add a child node, node 2D. We'll do receptacle root. Put this here. That should have a transform of 0, 0 now. So I put this here. Oh. Oh, is something blocking that? What's going on here? Oh, this reference rect is now probably blocking this. Let's ignore that. We'll also ignore this one. Ignore, okay. Excuse me? Maybe I broke it. I guess I broke it. What is resurrection in the context of your game? Oh, that's not right. Resurrection in the context of my game. So yeah, that just means that when you die in a combat encounter, that is, you have an opportunity to resurrect, so you can continue on. So like, I think most roguelites are kind of like, if you die, you're dead. But in my game, because it's an auto battler and it's kind of hard to discern how the enemies are gonna work in terms of the combat boards and everything, I give the player an opportunity to resurrect if they have the resurrection currency item, so that they can try the combat again. So yeah, that's what we're working on. That system is already in place. We're just doing the visuals for it now. So I think this beam, the beam looks okay. I may actually move this. I'll work on the beam some more later, but so basically this beam will come in when you click on that. We'll have to do some more work on that for sure, but that's serviceable for now. Good morning, Nathan. San, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Does a character rise from the ground during resurrection? I can picture the skeleton digging himself out. Yeah, that would be fun, but no, it's just going to be just this animation here. Okay, so we're going to want the beam to go into the sky. We're going to need particles and whatnot to come out of it. I'm trying to think, like the ghost particles that I want. Let me think about this. Well, let's just get the beam working, I suppose. Let's grab that beam. Beam.visible is equal to false. Play activation, var tween is equal to create tween. Tween.tween action. Beam.visible is equal to true. Tween.tween property. I think, do I tween the Y component if I want to scale it the proper way? Let's see. Ah, go away. Thank you. Well, I am going to want to tween the Y component a little bit. The X component. there. Guess we could just tween both of them at the same time. That will probably work. So we'll do tween.tween scale, beam vector 2.1, float duration 0.3, dot from vector 2.0, set ease, tween.ease type dot out, tween.transition type back, tween interval, let's just do something like 0.3, tween.tween scale. And actually what I probably want to do is I may actually want to tween this noise cutoff here. Let's see. Because if I do the noise cutoff at 1.0, that will go away. So actually, let's do this. So I've got my noise cut off here. So I can actually tween this out. So this is going to start from, what did I have it at? 0.4 or something? So it'll go from 0.4 to empty. So it'll just kind of like fade out. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll just make this local to the scene so we don't have to worry about that reference being shared. Okay, so tween dot tween property, beam material, private static or private const string, shader noise cutoff, shader parameter slash noise cutoff. We're going to do from, or final value is 1 over 0.4 seconds dot set ease out cubic. That's fine. Okay, let's just see what that does. We're getting one step further with every line of code. Okay, so that actually has to be done. Okay, let's do this. Private void play activation tweens. Okay, let's build this. This is gonna have to be done as part of the animation player, actually, I think. To get the timings right, or, I mean, I guess I don't really need to do it this way. So this resurrection stone will land here. Actually, you know what I'll do? Let's not do that. Animation player dot connect to animation player dot signal name dot animation finished. Callable dot from. I guess we'll keep that play activation tweens. Or phase 2 or something like that. We'll put this in here. Play activation phase 2. uint connect flags dot one shot. Okay, so after that animation finishes, then the beam should come in, hopefully. Actually, I don't know if I connected that properly. Animation finished. Right. This needs a. Okay. Just needs to accept a string name argument. So let's see if that works. Cool. All right, so that seems to work. We're going to need to have time for the ghosties and whatnot to come in, but I think that works for the most part. And there will be screen shake and stuff in here too. And then probably highlight this stuff as well, if I can apply a highlight shader to it. But anyway, let's think about how we're going to do the ghosts. That beam, I will work on the beam some more for sure. Okay. Now, how am I going to do the ghosts here? I mean, I could go really overboard, because I'm thinking it would be kind of cool if I just had like a couple of ghost textures and I put them over a line 2D, and then I had the line 2D kind of like snake around. So you've like got a bunch of ghosts snaking around here, and they're kind of like tilting with the turn, like a snake, kind of like a snake tail kind of thing. That might be a little bit overkill for this screen though, but trying to think if there's like a simpler way of doing it. Let's see. Here's what I'll do. Let's take a screenshot of this. Okay. Took a screenshot of that. We'll open it in Sprite and we'll see. I may be able to kind of like fake this. Let's see. Yes. Our docs. Here we go. Here's our screenshot here. Resurrection. Call this resurrection animation.asprite. Load default palette. Cool. So for the ghosties. Oops. I'm thinking just do something like this. We can have like particle trails on these guys as well. But what I'm thinking is So you've got like a little ghost like this. We take this piece, we round this off a little bit. And then what we do is we kind of make this two sprites here. Actually, let's do this as well. So we kind of like do a little joint like right in here. Not like a physics joint, but just like imagine there's a joint, like a pin holding them there. And then we take this guy and we just kind of like drive him around. And then we make the tail kind of roughly snake behind it. So that as this thing is rotating, so like this will be rotated like this. It'll be, you know, it'll be something like that. So we just give it like a very light kind of impression of motion. And then they come out here. And I think what I should be able to do also is I should be able to change the size of each one by just changing like what this offset is. So I could do like a small one like this and a longer one like that without really changing the assets much. And that should work. So these are a bunch of parameters that I could randomize, right? And I could just have them come out of everywhere, snake behind everything, so on and so forth. So I think that may work. This is going to be quite an adventure, actually. We will see how this goes. And if I add like the camera shake and everything in there too, it'll look better. And there will be more particles too. So we'll try to make this look as good as possible. Oh, you know what? The ghost head. Yeah, this doesn't need that. So basically we end up with two pieces. And so I've got the tail, which I can sort of like rotate independently here. Although that might be a little bit weird, but whatever. We'll figure it out. It's going to be a little bit of a thing. Could the character fade in and rise up with the beam? Oh, that's an interesting idea. So you're thinking like have the character you're playing as like come out from behind the beam or something? Yeah, that could work. I think, I mean, I would need to do a resurrection animation for all the characters, which wouldn't be that bad, but yeah, that's an interesting idea. Let me write that down. I might experiment with that. Experiment with adding character resurrection animation. Like, I think it could be interesting. Like, I could definitely see a situation where, like, you know, you've got the heart in there and the beam, and then the character just kind of like materializes from that or something. And then the whole thing fades out and you come back. Yeah, that could work. I'll have to think about that some more, but I think that will work for sure. Okay. File, scripts, export layers. We got to export these ghosties. Okay. I guess I'll put this inside of my effect folder. Resurrection Ghost. Sprite 2D. Okay, so we'll just do this to start. Yeah, we'll do that to start, and then we'll see what we can do. Actually, I'm realizing now that these... these need to be facing to the right. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, while that's exporting, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and when I come back, we will see if we can implement these ghosties and see how they look. I don't know if they're going to look any good, but we'll see. So anyway, be right back in just 3 minutes, and we'll continue on. Okay, I'm back. Hello, Asymmetrics. Welcome back. When is Retro Mortis being added to the hold screen? I need to redo the hold screen, generally speaking. Maybe I should do that. Honestly, whenever I have a new trailer for Alchem Mortis, I may just make that the hold screen. But anyway. Oh, there's so many things to do. So many things to do. Hello, Kanik. Welcome back. This is the real Firebelly Games. Yes, indeed. It is me, the real Firebelly Games. Anyway. All right, so let's see if we can get these ghosties to do something. Okay. So what exactly is it that we want these to do? So they're going to spawn from a point. I think that's going to be... Let me think about this. Almost tempted to take... I'm almost tempted to take basically this code and just modify it for these guys. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. And grab this. Definitely going to want to do that. Update Sidekick. So we're definitely going to need something like a public void start method or something. Yeah, we might do something like vector2 spawn origin, something like that. We're going to say global position is equal to spawn origin. But then what we need to do is we need to set the current target. Let's do this. Max speed. Let's do perspective threshold. Anyway. So this is going to be, because I want them to move up. I want them to move up the pillar. So it's not going to be exactly the same, this code, but that's okay. Let's grab this, paste that there. At perspective threshold. Wander target. So we're going to do let's do this. Hold on a second. Orbit center, wander target, wander offset, orbit center. Right, so let's do private vector to current root, something like that. Maybe we'll do current center position. I'm going to say current center position is equal to spawn origin plus vector2 dot up times 16 or something like that. Going to get rid of that orbit center. So our wander target is going to be equal to current center position plus wander offset. Our wander offset, we're going to change this. So let's do private void get, let's just do update wander offset. Wander offset is equal to vector2 dot up dot rotated math f, let's do rotated degrees, math f dot rng, no, math util dot rng rand f range. Let's do -80 to +80. And we'll do times 16, it doesn't matter. I mean, we could do this, math util dot rng dot rand f range 8, 16. Okay. So we're going to call update wander offset here. Let's just do global position here. Okay. I guess I don't need this. Let's just get rid of that. So wander target is current center position plus that wander offset. If global position distance to wander target is less than arrival radius, we are going to do this. We are going to set the current center position is equal to wander target. It's going to be actually current center position dot y is equal to wander target dot y. So basically what's happening is I have the wander behavior, but what it's going to do is it's going to start here. And then what the steering behavior is going to do is it's going to set a target within a 160 degree radius upwards somewhere between 8 and 16 pixels. So that's going to set the wander target. So the ghost is going to go to that wander target. When it reaches that wander target, what's going to happen is I'm going to set the new root position to be equal to that length. Actually, that's probably not going to work. I mean, I might have to take the sine of that angle. No. I'm not thinking properly. We just take the y difference. So let's say that I started here and I put a wander target point here. When that ghost reached that wander target, what I'm going to do is just set the new like anchor position upwards by that amount of y difference there. And then it's going to set another wander target in another 180 degree radius, or 160 degree radius rather. So basically what's going to be happening is that it's going to be wandering. It's going to be kind of like flying around, doing random things, but it's going to be moving ever upward because that root position is going to keep moving up. And I can tweak those radius parameters and whatnot so that as they like go outside this way, I can tweak them so that they start rendering behind the pillar and then they'll wander behind the pillar and so on. And the idea is if I just throw like 10 of these up, they'll all just kind of be moving upward up the pillar. That's the idea anyway. We're going to have to see if that works, but so we're updating this. So then I want to call, I want to say update wander offset. And then the wander target is going to be the current center position plus wander offset. Okay. Desired velocity, global position, normalized times max speed. Limit length, steer force times delta, limit length, max speed, global position plus equals velocity, relative x, okay. And then we'll change this show behind parent is equal to not show behind parent. Okay, and then we want to change this tether radius to something like 48, and we probably want to turn up the max speed and the steer force a little bit. Okay, so now we go to the resurrection container here. Resource preloader, let's put the resurrection ghost in there. And then what we're gonna do is underneath this visuals here, we'll add a marker 2D, oops. Marker 2D, We'll put this here. This will be the ghost spawn position. And we'll do this. Okay. So now we'll go to the resurrection container. Let's grab a reference to that resource preloader. And just for the sake of being able to see what's going on here, what I will do is I will change the rotation here. Rotation is equal to velocity.angle. Okay, so we've got the ghost spawn position, we've got the resource preloader. So play activation phase 2 for var I equals 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus. We're going to do var ghost is equal to resource preloader dot instantiate scene or null, resurrection ghost. Visuals dot add child ghost, ghost dot start ghost spawn position global position. I think that's it. Anyway, these things are just going to be going permanently, so I haven't done any animations for like their spawn in or their spawn out anyway, but anyway. But why distance? Okay. Okay, so it's kind of working. I'm going to change a couple of things here. Up the tether radius. And then this value here probably should go up as well. Let's do 16 to 32. All right, let's see if that works. Perfection, yeah. I mean, we have to change the tail and everything, get the tail to kind of like lag behind it a little bit. Are they actually rendering behind the parent? They're not, are they? Instantiate child scene. Let me just make sure that this is actually working. So I do the resurrection ghost, and then I do visibility show behind parent. Yeah, that should work. Actually, what this probably should be is this should probably be something like 16 to tether radius. I think that's maybe what I need. Okay, and we can make them... turn the steer force down, but turn their max speed up. Let's see what that does. So I think once they're like rotating very nicely, I think it's going to look a little bit nicer, but we'll see. Oh, but they all have different speeds as well, or the same speed. So I actually may want to set the max speed. And maybe even the steer force. I might want to do a random range there. So let's do... I mean, it's fine. Anyway, let's just do this. Max speed is equal to mathutil.rng.rand range. We're going to do 50 to 100. And then the steer force is equal to 100 to 200. We'll get rid of these things. This becomes max speed. That becomes steer force. So now we should get a little bit more randomness in terms of how those things are moving. I think the radius here, this negative 80 to negative 80, let's turn that down as well. Hello, Royal Munjask. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Been a while. How y'all doing? Played the playtest version. The game got so much better. It felt like a finished product. Great job. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. There's still a lot of work to do, of course, but we will get there. wonder if I should turn the speed down even a little bit. And then turn this force down. The idea is that these are just going to kind of come in. Okay, well those look kind of bad because they're not really, they don't look like they're flowing at all. And I think once I add particles to them as well. Also, those should probably spawn within a radius of that point as well. So let's see, spawn position, global position plus mathutil.rng.rand direction times mathutil.rng.rand range 0 to 16. Still missing the microtransactions, yeah. It is still missing the microtransactions, yes. I may need to change this extreme threshold as well. Or this perspective threshold. Let's turn that down to 0.5 instead. So I think obviously the next most important thing to do is to try to get those tails moving in a correct way. So I think what I can do in here is let's just do something like the private float tail global rotation. So we'll do some kind of lerp. We'll do, I need the tail here. Node private sprite 2D tail. Okay, let's do this. If tail global rotation equals null, we'll just store that to start. Else tail dot global rotation is equal to mathf.lerp. We're going to take the global rotation of the scene. We want to lerp to the global, or no, from to the global rotation of that. 1f minus mathf.exp. Let's just do something small like -3f times float delta. All right, let's see if that works. So hopefully we will get some more snaky motion here. We did not get any snaky motion. Oh. Why am I storing this? Right. This needs to be, I did it wrong. This is tail global rotation dot value. Okay. Oops, wrong scene. I ran the wrong seed, no. Okay. So that's kind of working. I think I need to have them have an initial velocity as well. Let's just do, let's see. Velocity is equal to vector2 dot up times matthew_rng.randf range. We'll do 0 to max speed divided by 2. So we'll just set the velocity to start so they're not all like... Just try to break that up a little bit more. Also... Yeah, I wonder... I might need... Let's see. Let's just increase this radius there. Obviously, they're going to need... I'll probably add some kind of like trail particle to them as well. And then they're also going to need... Max speed, let's do 75 to 150. Steer force, 50 to 100. We'll keep that there. Resurrection mealworms. Didn't you rotate the whole body? No, I was just not. I just did my if logic wrong. Oh my goodness, the mealworms. They do kind of look like mealworms. Kind of look like worms. I think once I add particles and whatnot, they'll look a little bit better. I could change the shape of them as well, but... So I think it's just a matter of tweaking these things. I think they're overshooting their targets as well. Let me think about this. We can give these a larger arrival radius as well, so they're not so sensitive to hitting the point exactly. Yeah, why are they coming back? I don't understand that. Maybe my math is wrong here. Center position is equal to spawn origin, update wander offset. Vector 2 up, rotated degrees. Negative 50 to 50. Randef range, 16 to tether radius. Maybe we'll turn this up. Okay, so if global position distance to a wander target is less than arrival radius, we're going to set the current center position to wander target dot y. We're going to update that wander offset, and then we're going to set the new wander target. Little flying grubs. The movement is coming along though, yeah. Hello, the Glacier. Do you think GD Quest is the best tutorials to learn fastest for Godot? Trying to learn Godot quickly. Any tips? I don't know. Why are these things acting so weird? I don't have any personal experience with GD Quest tutorials. I mean, from what I've seen, they're very high quality, for sure. I don't think you can go wrong with the GD Quest tutorials. As far as like how to learn it the fastest, I don't know. I don't know if there's like, I don't know if there's a tutorial that's like the best for learning the fastest. I think the speed of your learning, it kind of comes down to what kind of person you are. Because there's a lot of considerations to be made, right? Like, it's like if you already know programming and you find a Godot tutorial that spends a lot of time like teaching you programming concepts, that may not be the fastest way to learn, because it's rehashing stuff you already know. So yeah, I'm not sure. To local, current center position, float radius 4, colors, dot red. You redraw We'll go to the resurrection container here, turn that down to 1. I don't know if my wander target is being set properly. I think that may be why they keep coming back. Nope, it's constantly going up, so, interesting. So that red dot represents like its current like root position. So you can see that it's constantly going up. And then what I could do is I could also draw the target position. So if I do draw a circle, to local, current center position colors.green, that's fine. Maybe stretching them while going up could give the ghost feel. Yeah, that could work. 2D courses were great. Super non-technical guy, just started from scratch. Then yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with GD Quest for sure. Whether that's going to be the fastest thing, I don't know. Again, that depends on what kind of person you are. But if you're looking for something that's very high quality and comprehensive, then yeah, GD Quest is... You can't go wrong with GD Quest for sure. So why is this guy not... None of these are like circling back on themselves. You know what I could do is I could make this more explicitly horizontal instead of just doing a random range. Oh, there he goes. He rotated around. So the steering is not super strong, so sometimes they overshoot. You know what I might do instead? Let's do this. Let's do wander offset y is equal to tether Matthew Till. Okay, and then wander offset x is equal to Matthew Till at randef range. Let's just do something like 24 to 48. 248. And then we'll do wander offset is equal to new vector 2. Okay, let's see what that does. So I'm more explicitly controlling the x and the y coordinates now. Oops, goodbye. Oops, wander offset y. Let's just do negative there. Game art looks hella clean, by the way. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that. Felt like some go up too fast compared to the right-left velocity. Yeah. Oops. Interesting. Let's do 50 to 100. Steer force 200 to 300. Maybe I want to make them more explicitly... Well, let's put 10 of these guys back in and see what happens. I'm determined to make this work. We're going to make these maggots work. Why are they all going to the right side? So it looks really weird when that happens, so I may need to be a little bit more controlled as to what the random... Am I doing this right? Oh, I'm probably not doing this right, actually. Now that I think about it. Wander offset x. Yeah, this should be negative 48 to positive 48. I'll get it eventually. Actually, let's just make this negative tether radius to positive tether radius. And then here, let's just do 16 to 32. We'll get it working. I may want to add more segments to the freaking things too. Pardon my language. I think the steering is a little bit too strong now. I wonder if the steer force, maybe this should be even lower. I don't know. I'm just going to be endless playing with numbers, I guess. We'll see. So I definitely think adding a trail of some kind to them, adding a spawn in animation would work. They're not going up enough. I feel like they should be faster. Limiting the distance from one point on another x-axis. Well, they're always going up, so the next target position is always upward. Yeah, maybe they should be faster. Let's see. The problem is if I make them too fast, then they're going to overshoot the points. But we could try it. Yeah. I have to increase the steering force as well, but then it looks kind of like, I don't know, it looks kind of weird. They still overshoot the points as well. I mean, I guess that looks better. Maybe we turn down this a little bit. 250 to 350. From left to right, if he's on the far left, maybe going up for more center position rather than far right could help prevent horizontal movement. Well, I do want an element of horizontal movement, though. I think the problem, one of the problems is that I almost need their, let's just try something here. Let's really crank up this steer force and then turn down this wander offset. Like, I want them to do more loops around the pillar, but I don't know if that's going to work. Maybe the ghosts need to be smaller. Maybe the art needs to be smaller. Oh, goodness. Yeah, that's looking somewhat better, I guess. I think that's looking somewhat better. Let's do wander offset Y. Let's do something like 8 to, let's make this a little bit larger of a gap. I think that's looking better. What I might do is I might make the little ghosties a little bit smaller. More wispy-like. And maybe they can start when the beam starts as well. So they kind of look like they're going up the beam. Or they are starting when the beam starts, but... Let me try something here. Let's do... So we'll take the ghost. We'll do something like this. Oops. I have no idea if this is going to look good at all, but so we'll just chop this one. I want to try it with a smaller slash skinnier sprite and see if that looks a little bit nicer. So it becomes less of a ghost and more just kind of like some kind of energy thing. So we've got the ghost head. Oops. Then we've got the, oh, this needs to be ghost head. Oh, that's fine. I'll just leave it that way that it is. Do this. Okay. So we've got the ghost head, the ghost tail. We'll hide those. Export scripts, export layers. What do we call your new creations? Oh, Necromaster. I have no idea. That actually looked pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy with how it's turning out now with the higher speed and everything. I just think that maybe this just needs to be edited a little bit. Okay, let's see what that looks like with the smaller ghosties. Oh, well, that looks like something else now. Yeah, that looks like something else now. I think if I add trails to them, it might help, but it does look suspiciously like something else. +18 ghosts. Hello, Turbo Shook, welcome. We're defying death today. Perfect Friday activities, I agree. What if they spawned each with a little delay, not all at the same time? I mean, yeah, that's a good idea. More of a blue color. Can make them more of a blue color. Let's see. So I think part of the issue is like maybe additional tail sections to make their turning a little bit smoother, but also like trail particles or something on them. And then yeah, staggering their spawn, giving them a spawn animation. Oh, that kind of looks good actually. I was gonna use that kind of color scheme for the beam as well. So the beam would have like a core center, which is white, but then it would kind of like go out to the blue color, I think. That actually doesn't look terrible now. Yeah, I think maybe adding like another tail section that also rotates so they smooth out a little bit more. The res stone should be more egg-shaped. DLC add-on. Not sure if you're up for the work, but I would suggest using a line 2D with a maximum distance each point can be from the next point. Yeah, I thought about doing that, but it's too difficult. I don't like doing that. It's too difficult. The segments being obviously visible kind of ruins the hand-drawn illusion. Yeah, that's why I want to do more segments. No, I'm not going to do a bigger head because then it's really going to look like something that it shouldn't look like. Although, yeah, if they looked more like a fireball. That might work. Something like that, maybe. Well, I have no idea if this is going to work, but we'll try it. Let's see if this works. What if they just follow the beam and go up and around the beam? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to do, but I'm trying to do it with steering behavior so that it looks very organic. Okay, Resurrection Ghost. Oh, the head. Yeah, whatever. Okay, move this into position. Oh, the tail. I don't know why I moved that. Ah, son of a biscuit. I have to redo this. That's okay. What in the heck is even going on here? Okay. Get rid of this. Okay. All right. All good, Kellum. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Unless, did you pop in earlier? Oh, yeah, you did. But welcome again. You can have 2 welcomes. That's fine. So let's see what this looks like. So we got thicker ones. Those kind of look cool, I suppose. I mean, we could like really up the speed maybe. Let's just try cranking this speed here. 200 to 300. Oh, I don't think their steering force is high enough now. Could even crank this more. The tails are kind of glitchy too because of lerping angles is weird. I think I can do... Okay, that's kind of working. It's kind of working. Wander offset Y, let's turn this one up a little bit. Can I do a lerp angle instead? Let's see. Math app lerp angle. Okay. I mean, it's getting there. It's getting there for sure. I like this one's better. This one looks more like Wisps to me. I kind of like it. Yeah, I think it's good. Probably turn this up a little bit. So I can give them different lifetimes as well. So I can stagger their spawn. I can give them a spawn in animation so they don't just appear. And then I can also stagger their lifetimes so that, you know, they're not all existing at the same time. They just kind of like fade out. That looks pretty good, actually. I don't really have many complaints about that. And then if I add trails as well, that should hopefully more easily mask. So I think what I might also do is I could increase the length of these guys. So just like make this much longer, this tail. Make it much longer, split it into 3 or 4 segments instead. So it's got a smoother turn radius. And then if I can add particle trails as well to the wisps, I think that could look pretty good. And then of course, like having some kind of, so there's a lack of particle animations here as well. So have some kind of like particles coming out of the heart where the beam is connecting. Have some particles for the spawn. I still want to do the idea where there's like skeleton hands reaching out. Probably won't animate those, but just have those there. And then, yeah, that should work. Maybe just a little bit more tweaking on this, but add some camera shake when that beam comes in. Yeah. That looks pretty good, actually. I like it. Could they fade in and out? Isn't coding with the audience fun? Fading is a no-no. So for the people who are new to this, this game, the live streams that I'm doing here, I have a strict art rule for my game, which is that every single pixel that gets rendered to the screen has to be one of the 8 colors in my color palette, which means that doing things like bloom is not acceptable because that creates colors that are not in the palette. Doing things like transparency is not allowed because that will create colors that are not in the palette when it, you know, mixes a semi-transparent color with a non-transparent one. So every single pixel that gets rendered to the screen has to be one of the 8 colors in my palette. That's just a restriction that I adopted voluntarily for the art style for this game. So anything that involves like fading or bloom is a no-go. So yeah, if you ever see me like doing weird things like with fading and whatnot, and you're like, why don't you just use transparency? That's why. It's because it's just a rule that I adopted as like a style rule for the game. Of course I could, there's nothing technically stopping me from doing that, but yeah, I guess you could say it's, not to be pretentious, but you could say it's the art direction. Anyway, I feel like they explode too much away from the beam at the start. I would see the movement being more like a cone movement going further away the more they go up. Yeah, that makes sense. I think I can probably pull that off. We could try that. Must have missed that roll. All good. Just throwing out ideas. Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it. Thank you, Snup Bill, for the IDR 10,000. Very much appreciated. Thank you. With the message yummers. It's very generous. Thank you, Snup Bill, and welcome back. Always good to see you. The message yummers here. Get a load of this guy. Oh, goodness. Mr. Art Director, yeah. Anyway. Okay, so I'm going to take another quick 3-minute break. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a longer stream today, so I will, I'll take another quick break, and we'll make some of those changes that I just mentioned. See if we can get this feeling and looking pretty good. Probably won't finish this today, but we'll keep going for a little bit longer and see what we can do. But anyway, I'll be right back in 3 minutes, and we'll continue on. All right, I'm back. You've practiced that hair flip? Maybe. It seems the movement could be modeled by parameterized sine waves. Well, the problem there is you're assuming that I know how to do that. I mean, I did think about initially like just making them a sine wave and just like changing the amplitude and the frequency of each one randomly, but so that they're kind of like on rails but semi-random still. But I already had the what you call it, the steering behavior code from the pet moth from the skeleton character that kind of already did what I wanted. So I figured I might as well just take that and see if I can make that work, and I think it's working decently well. I mean, because the end result is like functionally the same, right? It's like you kind of get sine motion here with a little bit of variation. But yeah, that was an approach that I was considering taking, but I don't know. Maybe I will use that approach even still, but we'll see how it goes. So I'm actually going to redo this tail a little bit. So this tail, take this here. I'm going to make this a little bit longer. And by a little bit longer, I guess I mean a lot longer. Okay, so we'll do this. Just make this. Okay. Let's lock the ghost head so I don't accidentally use it. Okay. I'm just going to put this here so I know what I'm looking at. Well, we'll see how that looks. I don't know. But anyway, we're going to want to split this into multiple sections now, I think. So maybe we'll make... And we could even make each section, each of these blocks its own section, I guess. Would that be overkill? Maybe, but let's do it anyway. Maybe it would be overkill to make these two separate sections, so I'll just do this, I suppose. Okay, so let's split these out then. Actually, let's do ghost tail segment 1. Ghost tail segment 2, and then we'll take this one. Ghost tail segment 3. Okay, so we've got segment 2. These need to be reversed. The rendering order in A-Sprite is different, is reverse of the rendering order in Godot, so it's confusing me constantly. And then we have the ghost head. which we can do like that. Needs the rest of the layers to really judge it. Yeah. Sometimes good enough is good enough. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and this is like this is a screen that players are only going to see when they die. I mean, I do want it to be like a very visually satisfying scene for sure. But it also doesn't need to be like super, super perfect. What? Okay. So there's our new ghost. I think that's fine. So now we need to get all these different segments. Segment 1. Oh wait, that's all the tail segments. I was just gonna keep going on and listing segments. Anyway. We'll just do global rotation here. Okay. Segment 2 dot global rotation is equal to mathf dot lerp angle. This will be a smaller factor here. I hope this works the way that I want it to. I have no idea if this is going to work, but let's see. I don't think it worked. What did I do wrong here? tail global rotation, tail segment 1 global rotation. Let's just get rid of... Let me just check something here. Tail segment 1. Did I break it? Did you actually reference the segment somewhere? Like are they known by the script? Yes, they are. Let's see. I mean, maybe this is just not going to work the way that I'm approaching it. So the idea is that I'm trying to align all the segments to the overall target rotation, but each of them has a slower, each one after the first has slower, slower arrival point or slower lerp. But that doesn't seem to be working. I guess I can't do it that way probably. Are my rotation... Yeah, I probably can't do it that way, honestly. It's not going to work. So maybe what I wanted to do is what the AI initially suggested, which is tail segment 1 dot global rotation. So base it off of its parents, or the segment preceding it, base it off of that rotation and then do it. But I don't know if that's going to work either. I think that's just going to create straight lines, basically. What in the heck? Oh, you know what? Maybe these need to be parented. Maybe these actually do need to be parented, because this one will be rotated right. Okay. So this one will be rotated like this, and then this tail segment 3 will be rotated like this. So these actually need to be parented. Okay. Well, we'll do that then. So tail segment 1. Show behind parent. Show behind parent there. Grab those. Okay, and let's turn this back to tail segment 2 to global rotation, tail segment 3 to global rotation. All right. Aren't you always using the same first global rotation for each? I don't know why I'm saying stuff I'm not used to using lerp like this. Okay. No. So I'm storing... So this tail global rotation, that's just kind of like the target rotation. It gets set to be the current global rotation on the first process, just so that, you know, I'm not getting any bad initial state. And then what I'm doing is I'm lerping that target global rotation to the actual global rotation of the thing. And then setting the tail segment 1 equal to that value, but then these remaining segments will take their... Oh, you know what? Maybe I need to reverse... do I need to reverse these? Actually. So the problem now is that when I set this tail segment 1 global rotation, that's going to change the global rotation of everything else. So what I need to do is I actually need to... Oh gosh, this is a nightmare. I need to capture a snapshot of the global rotation prior to changing any of the global rotations, and then put that in here. Okay. Let's see if that works. Probably won't work, but we'll see. Just work through one problem at a time. That is not working at all. Well, I don't think this is going to work. I'm going to have to actually probably implement an actual snake. Actual snake thingamabob. What? Did I already try this? Tail global rotation dot value. No. Actually, I wonder if this should be... I'm just messing with stuff now. We sneaking now? Am I misunderstanding? Sneaking? Actually, you know what I think? I actually don't know what I think. I don't think this is gonna work. I think I need to actually implement like a snake algorithm. I have one. I did one for Gunforged, but that one was a little bit different. Yeah, this is not working at all. Okay. I'm gonna have to figure that out later. Fudge. Stuff that is so simple, like, hey, I want a snake-like trail, is just like unbelievably unintuitive. That's okay. We'll figure it out later. Let's add an in animation. We'll give it a lifetime here. mathutil.rng.randef range 1.5 to 2.5. Tween.tween scale. Okay, let's see what that does. Isn't the first part supposed to be the value to change? The second part, start value, and the last one, the target value? No. No, the first value is the from value, the second value is the to value, and the third value is the t value, or the delta value. The distance along the line between the 2 points that you want to target. I guess I misunderstood going by your action. These things are looking terrible now. It's okay, I'll get an actual snake algorithm working for these. But they look good when they come, when they do that. And then what we can do also is we can do the stagger here. So here's what I'll do. I'll do, let's see, visible equals false. Tween, we'll do tween dot tween interval mathutil.rng.randef range. We'll do 0f to 0.15f. Tween dot tween callback, or we'll do tween action. Visible equals true. So that should stagger them a little bit, hopefully. Maybe not enough though. Let's do 0.3. Yeah, so once that trail is working well, it's going to look pretty good, actually. The trail is just not working. We can get rid of these debug things again. Clean that up a little bit. Yeah, once those trails are working, it's going to look pretty good, I think. Instead of having them all attached and rotating, could you just have each segment be its own entity and have a position of rotation just mirror what the head did previously? Well, the problem is you still need to have some element of lerp, right? Like, mirror what the head did previously, what does that mean? Does that mean the previous frame? Or does it mean the head's position from 30 frames ago, right? Or, 0.2 seconds ago. So it's not as simple, because then you need to start tracking history, right? Like, if you want the thing's rotation to be the same as the head's rotation, let's say half a second ago or 0.4 seconds ago. If you're not doing that in like a pure mathematic way with like a lerp or something, you need to maintain a history. I mean, that's actually what I did with Gunforged. When I have a snake boss in Gunforged that it's perfect. Like wherever the head goes, the snake had like 20 segments or something. And wherever the head went, all of those 20 segments would follow that path exactly. But the way that I did that is, I think I did something weird. Like I created a curve 2D resource in Godot, and I kept adding points to the curve 2D resource based on the head's position. And then that curve 2D resource curve length was the same length as the snake. And so what I could do for each segment is I could just say, okay, this segment corresponds to this point on the curve. And then I can just use that point's position to infer the angle, like the rotation of that segment. And so basically there was just like this constantly updating curve 2D that was being updated with history of the head position so that all those segments could follow in the proper way. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, there are ways to do like tentacle movements that are kind of like that, but the problem is if you're not maintaining the exact history of where the head was, the way the math works out is all those tail segments, however many you have, won't exactly be at the head's position of rotation wherever it was in space. So there's a bunch of different ways to do it. There is a way to do it with like lerping. I know that for sure, like where you could just kind of like approximate like the trail of the head, but I just don't know how to do that off the top of my head. Maybe try the new inverse kinematics 2D. That might be overkill. But it could work. It could work. So out of game dev these days, I'm inventing functions. What if instead of doing smaller values for the last part of the tails, you go with larger values? Yes. So we can do 8 and 6. I don't think that's going to work, but could you just generate a squiggly line like some kind of randomized sine wave or something? Just have each part follow that. Yes, but that wouldn't be like a tail trail, right? Unless I'm misunderstanding what you're saying. There's a way to do it. I'm gonna have to figure it out. I'll have to look it up. Generating a path and path follow 2D. I'll have to look it up for sure, but anyway, this is looking decent. Okay, so let's take a break from this visual effects stuff for a second. I'm gonna need to do particles and stuff too. But we're gonna take a break from the visual effects, and I'm gonna go back to this one here. Let's do some skeletal hands coming out of the ground. We'll do these decorations real quick. I hope it'll be real quick. We'll see. So there's one hand. Where else do we want to draw a hand? Okay, something like that. And then we can do some hands back here as well in the background. So there's some hands there. And then let's do behind the pillar. Let's see, we can have one coming up here. Oh. Let's just do... do a hand back there, and then maybe one like up here. What is this doing? Oh, turn the mask on. There we go. Can do one over here too. Oops. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. I think it works. What we could also do is we could maybe add could maybe do some kind of plant or something here just to break it up a little bit. Something like that. Oh wait, what am I doing? I don't need to do that. We'll see how the plant works, but... So hopefully that's, you know, hopefully that's a little bit nicer. If you generated a number of squiggly lines and attached each segment to that path and had it follow it, then you could just establish an offset for the separation between each segment. Each segment of the spirit, I should say, trying to articulate this in a way that makes sense. In other words, make a line, drop each segment of the sprite of the spirit on it. Should have each segment follow the path and rotate with it, basically like a snake. Yeah, I mean, that would be a way to do it. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I understand that. I have an idea, but it might be overkill. What if the skull shattered when resurrecting? The skull, that's the end run button. We could have it shatter when you end the run, but that is just a button that exists if you don't want to resurrect and you're just like, there's no way I can beat this. You can just end your run there. Finally finished my video after like a month, and I'm planning to join my 3rd jam tomorrow. Awesome. Very cool. All right, hands front. So now we have to do all this good stuff here. All right, let's see. Welcome back, MKRD, by the way. Good to see you. Just trying to do this in a sensible way here. Actually, okay, I think that should work. And then okay, that should work. Okay. Well, we'll see how this goes. I don't know if I like the shading in here. Oh, it's getting very windy over here. Very windy. All right, well, I'll play with that later. I think it looks okay. Let's do the highlighting first. Okay. That looks decent. Do this. Okay. I think that works. All right, hands back. Let's get rid of this plant for now. We'll just take a look at what this is looking like. Definitely think I need some more decorations in there. But I think this is looking all right. I don't really have any complaints at the moment. Here. I think most of this is actually going to be in shadow here. Well, that one's probably okay as well. Don't need to spend too much time on this, like I say. Oops. I wonder if I can fit like another finger back here. Yeah, that'll work. Yep, something like that. Okay, perfect. So I am going to need to redo... Oh, I didn't even outline this one, did I? No, I did not. Okay, so we'll just do that real quick. Probably don't need a double outline on those, but I'll just do it to be consistent. Okay, there we go. Maybe the top of a skeleton head instead of a plant, like the whole thing is crawling out of the ground. Yeah, maybe. Or maybe like rubble would be more appropriate or something. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know how to draw the top of a skeleton head. Let's see. Maybe I'll just do... I don't know, I feel like something like that could work. It's easier for me to draw. A little bit easier for me to draw, so... just go with this for now. Yeah, we could maybe do some more decorations as well, but I think that looks fine. All right, let's go ahead and export those. Oh. We'll get these exported, we'll get those in the game. See how it looks. Where's this pillar? Show in file system. Okay, so we need the plant, we need the hands back, hands front. Okay. This hands back needs to go behind the pillar. We'll figure out where that's supposed to go. Plant goes in front of everything. All right, now time to see if I can actually just kind of judge where this goes. Okay, I think that's correct. And then the plant. I think that's correct as well. And the hands back. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, well, those are going to need to be animated as well, but there we go. New decorations in the game. Okay, once all these things are in place, this is going to look pretty good, I think. Those arms look sick. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, anyway, that's all I'll do for the stream for now. I'm going to go eat some lunch and keep working on this afternoon. But thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Gareth. So appreciate that. Like previous necromancers who couldn't make it to the shrine. Yeah, I like it. I like it. But anyway, that's it for the stream. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. You can wishlist Alchemy Mortis on Steam if it's interesting to you. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler where you can create your own synergies with alchemy. And what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, the playtest for Alchemy Mortis is currently live for Patreon members, so you can head on over to the Patreon, subscribe to get access. The playtest will be available for everyone though, starting on Monday, so you do not have to support on Patreon to get access to the playtest. But join the Discord, I'll post a notification there when the playtest is available. I'll also be publishing a YouTube video announcing the playtest for everyone on Monday. So yeah, definitely, just check out the links in the description below. Anyway, I appreciate the support, everybody. Thank you all for hanging out on this Friday afternoon, and I will see you in the next one, probably tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Okay, take care, everyone, and bye-bye for now.